Clara never expected that the simple objects she held onto could be the very things dragging her life into darkness. Each night, she felt a suffocating weight in her chest, as if unseen hands were tightening their grip. Despite her efforts to move forward, something always held her back. A relentless heaviness that whispered of past wounds and hidden regrets. Could it be that her own home was trapping her in this cycle of loss and failure? And if so, what sinister force was lurking in the corners of her sanctuary, quietly dismantling her dreams? When Evelyn, an enigmatic mentor, hinted that the objects Clara clung to might be draining her spirit, Clara's skepticism turned into a gnawing curiosity. What hidden powers did these seemingly innocent items possess, and what would happen if she dared to let them go? Clara's house wasn't just cluttered. It was suffocating, holding echoes of her failures and fears. She couldn't pinpoint when it began, but lately, it felt like the walls themselves were closing in. Why does every attempt to move forward feel like pushing against an invisible barrier? Clara's once cozy home now seemed hostile, with broken vases and stacks of outdated books casting shadows that whispered her self-doubts. Yet she never considered these objects might be the roots of her stagnation. Every corner felt heavy with memories, each item a reminder of something left undone or someone lost. Clara's attachment to these things was irrational, but she justified it as holding on to what defined her past. What if these objects, which she thought anchored her to her identity, were actually holding her captive? Clara avoided confronting this unsettling idea, clinging to a narrative that these items represented stability when, in truth, they represented chains. Lena, sensing Clara's exhaustion, suggested meeting Evelyn Sr. "There's something powerful about energy, Clara," Lena insisted, her eyes filled with empathy. Clara rolled her eyes but couldn't shake the curiosity gnawing at her. Could clutter really be this powerful? Could her home be reflecting the chaos within her mind? The mind and space are intertwined, Lena argued, referencing Buddhist teachings. The seed of doubt was planted and Clara couldn't stop it from growing. Late at night, Clara couldn't sleep. The hum of the refrigerator seemed louder, the ticking of a clock almost mocking. Her mind spiraled. What if Lena was right? What if this clutter wasn't just physical? Anxiety and curiosity intertwined, fueling a growing desperation. She hadn't been able to move forward in months, maybe even years. The voice inside grew louder, pushing her to explore what she had denied for so long. Was there something here worth facing? The next morning, Clara hesitantly called Lena. "Tell me about Evelyn," Clara muttered, her voice betraying her skepticism. Lena smiled knowingly and handed Clara Evelyn's contact. "You've got nothing to lose, Clara," she replied. Yet deep down, Clara knew she had everything to lose. Her fears, her safety and inertia, and maybe, just maybe, the shadows lurking in her home. What Evelyn could see in Clara's home, Clara couldn't yet grasp. Evelyn wasn't like any guide Clara had met. She radiated a quiet intensity, a presence that seemed to ripple through the room. Clara was defensive, skeptical. But Evelyn's demeanor was disarming. "Our homes are mirrors of our spirit," Evelyn began, her voice soft yet firm. "What lies here reflects what lies within you." Clara felt exposed, her house laid bare as Evelyn moved gracefully through each room, as if sensing the weight of unseen burdens. Clara's anxiety grew with each step. "Tell me, Clara," Evelyn asked gently, "when did the heaviness start?" Clara stumbled over her words, searching for a moment she couldn't define. "It was gradual, I think," Clara stammered, "like things started breaking and I just never got around to fixing them." Evelyn nodded knowingly, as if she understood something Clara did not. Clara couldn't help but ask, "Do you really believe it's the objects causing this?" Evelyn smiled. "No, not the objects, what they represent." Evelyn pointed to a broken vase on the mantel, its cracks filled with dust. "This vase, it's not just broken. It's holding your fear of things falling apart, your fear of letting go," Evelyn whispered. Clara felt a chill run down her spine. How could a simple vase hold so much weight? Evelyn's voice was soothing but unyielding, her gaze piercing through Clara's defenses. "Is it possible that my reluctance to let go is manifesting physically?" Clara wondered, feeling unervingly vulnerable. "8 shadows," Evelyn murmured, almost to herself. Clara's brow furrowed in confusion. "What do you mean?" she asked. Evelyn turned, her expression serious. "There are 8 shadows in this house, Clara. 8 symbols of what holds you back. You must confront each one," Evelyn said. The room felt colder, as if the very walls listened. Evelyn's words seemed more like a challenge than an observation, and Clara felt her heart racing. 8 shadows? The number felt ominous, almost prophetic. You must decide, Evelyn said softly, whether you will keep living among these shadows or step into the light. Clara felt a wave of fear but also a flicker of hope. She didn't know if Evelyn's words were rooted in reality or mysticism, but they resonated with something deep inside her, a longing for change. Clara knew she couldn't keep living like this, but could she face whatever shadows Evelyn spoke of? Clara nodded, her resolve tinged with uncertainty. Evelyn took Clara through each room, pausing to observe objects Clara had long stopped noticing. A wilted plant in the living room caught Evelyn's attention. This plant symbolizes more than neglect, she murmured. It represents life lost, hope unwatered. Clara felt her throat tighten. She had kept the plant out of guilt, a constant reminder of failing to nurture something so simple. Evelyn's words echoed. Life lost, hope unwatered. Clara was beginning to see that her house wasn't just cluttered. It was speaking to her. Do you believe that keeping this plant honors its memory? Evelyn asked. Clara swallowed hard. I thought I was holding on to something good, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Evelyn smiled softly. Sometimes, we mistake holding on for preserving when it's only prolonging pain, she said. Clara's mind raced. How many things in this house was she holding on to that were keeping her trapped in old wounds? What if letting go isn't about forgetting but about freeing? Clara's thoughts were interrupted as Evelyn picked up a cracked mirror from a side table. A broken reflection distorts more than the outside, Evelyn said. It warps how you see yourself. Clara felt her heart pounding. The mirror had been broken for years, a remnant of a past relationship she couldn't let go of. She had kept it as a reminder of resilience, but Evelyn's words cut deep. What if this mirror is keeping me from seeing myself clearly? Clara wondered, a knot forming in her stomach. Evelyn's exploration wasn't just about objects. It was about peeling back layers Clara had hidden even from herself. Each shadow in this house has a purpose, Evelyn explained. They are manifestations of what you've held on to, fears, regrets, wounds. Clara felt a growing unease. What if my home is holding the pieces of me I'm afraid to face? The thought was both terrifying and liberating. Clara realized that facing these shadows meant facing herself. Are you ready to confront what you've hidden? Evelyn asked, her voice gentle yet firm. Clara hesitated, fear gripping her heart. What if Evelyn's words were true? What if these objects were not just remnants, but reflections of her deepest insecurities? I don't know, Clara whispered. Evelyn didn't press, only nodded. We will see, she replied. Clara felt a heavy weight pressing on her chest. She knew that whatever came next, there was no turning back. Clara stood in front of an old wooden box, its lid heavy with memories. Inside lay items inherited from her late mother. A necklace, a diary, and an antique pocket watch. Evelyn had told her to confront each item with intention. What memories are these objects holding? Clara felt a pang of guilt at the thought of letting them go. But Evelyn's voice lingered, reminding her, to create new beginnings, you must make peace with the endings. How can I let go without losing myself? Clara questioned. Do you still wear that necklace? Evelyn asked. Clara shook her head, her fingers grazing the tarnished silver. It's too painful, she admitted. Evelyn nodded. Not all heirlooms are meant to be kept forever, she said gently. Sometimes they carry not just memories, but the energy of grief and loss. Clara felt tears well up. She had clung to the necklace out of duty, believing it honored her mother's memory. But was she really honoring her, or was she holding on to pain? Clara took a deep breath, feeling a war inside her heart. The necklace was the last physical link to her mother, but it also held the weight of unresolved grief. Evelyn placed a hand on her shoulder. Objects are not the memories themselves, Clara, she whispered. They are symbols. What you release is not your mother. It's the pain of her passing. Clara felt a shift within her, a loosening of the chains that had bound her for so long. Is it possible to let go and still remember? With trembling hands, Clara placed the necklace in the box. It felt like parting with a piece of herself. Yet as she closed the lid, she felt a strange lightness. How do you feel? Evelyn asked. Clara hesitated. Lighter. But also afraid, she admitted. Evelyn nodded, a soft smile forming. Fear is the shadow of change. What you've done is brave, she said. Clara realized then that releasing wasn't about erasing the past. It was about freeing her present. Can I keep moving forward? That night, Clara slept with the box by her door, unsure if she'd be able to let it go completely. In her dreams, she saw herself walking through her house, its rooms now filled with light. She felt her mother's presence, not as a ghost of the past, but as a gentle, guiding force. When Clara woke, the heaviness had lifted just a little. Evelyn's words echoed. Release is not about loss. It's about opening doors to what awaits. Clara wasn't ready to let go of everything, but she was ready to try. Evelyn and Clara stood in the kitchen, a place cluttered with chipped dishes and worn-out cookware. The kitchen is the heart of abundance, Evelyn explained. But your heart has cracks, Clara, and it's leaking what you need most. Clara stared at the chipped plates, suddenly feeling embarrassed by their worn condition. They had seemed inconsequential, yet Evelyn's words felt piercing. How does neglecting small things reflect how I care for myself? Clara wondered, unease rising in her chest. Evelyn handed Clara a chipped mug she had kept since college. Why do you still use this? Evelyn asked. Clara shrugged defensively. It's just a mug, she muttered. Evelyn shook her head gently. Nothing is ever just anything, she replied. This mug represents your belief that broken things are still good enough, that you don't deserve something whole. Clara felt the weight of the mug in her hands, suddenly heavy with the realization of what she had been denying. Clara put the mug down, her hands trembling. Do I really believe I don't deserve better? She felt a sting of self-judgment, but also a flicker of understanding. What we surround ourselves with teaches us what we believe we are worth, Evelyn said, almost in a whisper. Clara glanced around her kitchen, seeing it now not as a place of comfort, but as a mirror of her own self-worth. Can changing something so small truly shift what I believe about myself? That evening, Clara packed away her old dishes and mugs, replacing them with a simple set she had been saving for special occasions. As she laid them out, she felt a sense of renewal. Evelyn smiled knowingly, her presence a silent encouragement. Clara wasn't just cleaning, she was reclaiming. With each action, she repeated to herself, I am worthy of new beginnings. The kitchen felt different, lighter, as if something unseen had shifted along with the clutter. Before leaving, Evelyn looked back at the kitchen. When you make space, life fills it with what you've been missing, she said. Clara nodded, finally understanding what Evelyn had meant. It wasn't just about the objects. It was about the energy she allowed into her life. As Evelyn left, Clara felt a quiet determination. She knew this journey wasn't over, but for the first time she felt like she was truly moving forward. Am I ready for the light I've been keeping out? She asked herself, and for once the answer was yes. Evelyn guided Clara to a room Clara rarely entered, her late father's study. It was filled with old papers, broken gadgets, and reminders of a man who never seemed proud of her. Clara's throat tightened as Evelyn approached an old clock, its hands frozen in time. This place holds echoes of unspoken words, unresolved anger, Evelyn observed. Clara wanted to leave, but Evelyn's presence grounded her. Why have I avoided this room for so long? What am I afraid to face? Evelyn's voice was gentle yet unyielding. This clock, what does it mean to you? She asked. Clara swallowed hard. It was his favorite, she admitted, but it stopped working when her voice trailed off. Evelyn nodded, understanding. And yet you never fixed it. Clara felt exposed, as if Evelyn could see every wound she had tried to hide. Am I holding on to this broken clock because I'm still holding on to that broken relationship? She questioned, a painful realization dawning. Anger and regret weigh heavy on the soul, Clara, Evelyn said softly. This room is a testament to the burdens you've been carrying. Clara felt tears well up. She had tried so hard to move on from her father's disapproval, yet this room held every word left unsaid. Evelyn placed a hand on the clock, her voice almost a whisper. What would you say if he were here now? Clara felt a knot in her chest tighten. Could I ever find peace with him gone? Clara hesitated but then whispered, I forgive you. The words felt foreign, almost forced. But Evelyn smiled gently. Forgiveness is not a feeling, it's a decision, she said. And sometimes it takes time to feel what you've decided. Clara nodded, a sense of release slowly replacing the pain. She knew she couldn't change the past, but perhaps she could change her relationship with it. Am I ready to let go of the anger that has held me captive? She asked herself, and this time she felt something shift. Before leaving the room, Clara wound up the clock. She didn't know if it would start ticking again, but that wasn't the point. It was a symbolic gesture, a way of acknowledging that time hadn't stopped with her father's passing. It had only stalled. Evelyn smiled as they left the study, her eyes filled with quiet pride. Healing isn't linear, Clara. It's like winding a clock. It takes patience, persistence, and the willingness to move forward, even when time seems frozen. Evelyn arrived with a bundle of sage, its scent sharp and purifying. Today will cleanse your home, she said, her tone firm yet gentle. Clara felt a mixture of anticipation and fear. Can something as simple as smoke really shift the heaviness I feel? He wondered. Evelyn smiled as if reading Clara's thoughts. It's not the sage itself, Clara, she explained. It's the intention behind it. Today you're not just clearing your home, you're clearing your spirit. Evelyn lit the sage, the tendrils of smoke curling through the air. As you walk, speak words of release, Evelyn instructed. Clara felt self-conscious at first, her voice barely a whisper. But as she moved from room to room, she began to find her rhythm. I released the fear of not being enough, she murmured in the study. I let go of resentment and pain, she whispered in the kitchen. With each affirmation, Clara felt an invisible weight lift. Is this what it feels like to be free? She asked herself. The house seemed to breathe with her, exhaling years of trapped emotions. Open the windows, Evelyn instructed, her voice steady. Clara did as she was told, feeling the rush of cool air meeting the warm smoke. It was as if her house was finally taking its first full breath. In Buddhist teachings, it is said that smoke carries away what words cannot, Evelyn remarked, her eyes focused. Clara felt a deep resonance with the ritual, as if each room was shedding its past. What is being carried away and what will take its place? As the smoke cleared, Evelyn handed Clara a small vial of essential oil. This is to seal in the new energy, she explained. The scent of renewal. Clara dabbed the oil on her wrists and doorways, a ritual that felt both simple and profound. You're not just making your space smell nice, Evelyn smiled. You're creating an anchor, a reminder of this moment of transformation. Clara nodded, feeling a newfound strength within her. What new energy do I want to anchor in this home in my life? She pondered, with clarity finally settling in. When they finished, Clara stood at her front door, looking back into her home. It felt different, lighter, warmer, almost as if the walls themselves were smiling. Evelyn placed a hand on Clara's shoulder. You've done well, she said softly. Clara felt a rush of gratitude, not just for Evelyn but for herself. She had faced what scared her most and had emerged lighter. Is this the beginning of a new chapter? Clara wondered. And in her heart she knew the answer was yes. The morning after the cleansing, Clara woke up feeling something she hadn't in years: peace. Her house, once heavy with echoes of the past, now felt alive with possibilities. She sat quietly, reflecting on the journey so far. How can such small changes create such a profound shift? She asked herself. Evelyn's words echoed in her mind. Energy is like water. When it flows freely, life thrives. Clara began to understand. Her past wasn't a weight. It was a river, and she was finally learning to let it flow. Clara found herself smiling at the sunlight streaming in through her bedroom window. Your home is a reflection of your spirit, Evelyn had said. Clara now saw that her transformation wasn't just about clearing objects. It was about reclaiming her sense of worth, purpose, and joy. What new chapters are waiting to be written now that I've cleared the page? She wondered, feeling a thrill of anticipation she hadn't felt in years. The feeling was both strange and wonderful. Clara's friends began to notice the changes too. Lena, her closest confidant, visited and marveled at the lightness in the air. Your home feels different, Lena remarked, her eyes widening in surprise. Clara smiled, realizing that the shift was as much internal as it was external. I've been letting go, she said simply. Lena looked at her with admiration. I don't know what you did, but keep doing it, she urged. Clara chuckled, feeling a deep warmth at her friend's words. Is this what it feels like to be truly seen? He wondered. As days turned into weeks, Clara found herself embracing new opportunities with a confidence she hadn't known before. The fears that once paralyzed her were now whispers, easily quieted by the clarity she had gained. The universe is always listening, Evelyn had said. But you must be willing to speak your desires aloud. Clara began to practice daily affirmations, speaking words of abundance and gratitude into her newly cleared space. What miracles are waiting to manifest in this new chapter of my life? She mused, eager to find out. One evening, Clara received an unexpected call, a job offer from a company she had long admired. The timing was uncanny, almost as if the universe had been waiting for her to clear the way. It's all connected, isn't it? Clara whispered to herself, realizing that the prosperity she had been seeking wasn't something external. It had been within her all along, waiting for her to believe it. Evelyn's words echoed in her mind once more. When you make space for what you want, life rushes in to fill it. Clara felt a quiet certainty settle in her heart. I'm ready, she thought. And this time she truly believed it. Now that you've joined Clara on her journey of self-discovery and release, ask yourself, is there something in your life, maybe in your own home, holding you back from true happiness and success? What would you do if the key to transforming your future was right in front of you, waiting for you to make one brave decision? Comment below with what you feel could be blocking your path, and don't forget to like this video to support others on this journey toward freedom and prosperity.